Good evening once again, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Alan Iden, and you have just seen the wrap-up of the third and final session of Winchester's Fall 2025 Town Meeting here on November 10th. So let's recap what went on this evening. We started with Article 21. It was more of an informational article about the town expanding the use of solar in the town. Several properties are potential areas for solar expansion. We heard about the Lynch School, which is a net zero project. So all the energy needed in the school is generated by solar. We heard that the town will realize about $50,000 in net revenue because of this use of solar, and about $750,000 in savings at the Lynch over 25 years. Other potentials are the gym roof at the high school and a possible parking canopy at the high school. More possibilities exist at the VO, Vincent Owens School. So a full plan will be brought to spring town meeting. Again, information article, no appropriations, so it was indefinitely postponed. The next article was 22 for the personnel report, board report. We just basically heard the need to fund payments for retroactive contracts that had expired and are now settled, but we also heard that the money was put aside for those. There were 8 motions. We also heard that DPW workers are all required to be able to plow snow. There's also a $250 bonus in there for custodians to clear snow at the schools. Clerical workers got a 1% raise this year, but it was traded for a bump up in step levels. We also heard about creating a deputy town manager position. All those, and also the money to fund those, and all of those passed. The next article was 28, and I think I have that wrong on here, but I believe that was 28, which is the Community Preservation Act funds. For the first time, the town has a committee that was formed in November, town voted to form this in November 2024. Community Preservation Act had $1.6 million available for various projects around town, of which they're spending 1.3 or allocating 1.3 for these following projects, all of which were passed. A submerged aeration system for Wedge Pond, the HVAC system improvements, replacement rather, at Lincoln Elementary School, Ginfield pickleball courts, engineering for those, not the construction, and Winchester Historical Society, $112,000, presumably to be matched by a state grant for restoration of the columns, restoration and repair to the columns. Various park and playground fencing and backstop repairs for $50,000. Leonard, article, yes, motion number 6, Leonard Field basketball court renovation, and that was $90,000. $350,000 for the renovation, towards the renovation of the house at 160 Forest Street, which is discussed in the next article. Also from the Friends of Wedge Pond, $50,000 towards the study of restoring the use of the Beauregard Beach. And finally, $225,000 for repairs to Ginfield, mostly replacing the sod and irrigation system. Now, all of those were contributions to other funds, except for the entire the Wedge Pond submerged aeration system was entirely funded for $59,000, and the Leonard Field basketball court rehabilitation was also entirely funded for $90,000. All the rest of those were dependent on getting other funds or contributions from other sources. So all of those were passed. Article 29 was to convey the property at 160 Forest Street to the Winchester Affordable Housing Trust. Just as background on that the property at that address was left to the town by a Marcia Rice. She had received assistance from the town's Fletcher Fund in her declining years to make some necessary repairs to the house, and in return willed the house to the town with the stipulation that it be used for affordable housing. She passed 5 years ago. At the time, there was a $700,000 lien from Mass Health on the property. With negotiations with the town, that lien was released if the town would use the house for affordable housing. The funds from the sale of this property would go back to the Affordable Housing Trust. Alternatives were discussed, such as adding an accessory dwelling unit, which was deemed not practical because of the layout of the property. Also, demolition of the house and reconstruction was also discussed. There was a motion to have the town retain ownership, which was ruled out of order. And in the end, the transfer from the town to the Affordable Housing Trust was passed. That was Article 29. Article 30 was also another transfer to transfer the ownership of the Mystic School from the school committee, the former Mystic School, which closed in 1983, to transfer the ownership of that from the school department to the town. This would allow the recreation department to develop some long-term plans for it. There's also a tenant in there called Kids Corner. That would also add some stability to that, so the town would be managing the use of that former school. That was passed. Articles 31, 32, and 33 were for some tax relief for disabled veterans and for seniors. First two, 31 and 32, were for veterans. Currently, disabled veterans get a $400 tax exemption. That doubles to $800. And Article 32 lets that exemption grow by the cost of consumer price index. We heard that the total for this relief to disabled veterans, of which there are about 35 in the town, would be about $23,000. Article 33 currently allows seniors with incomes of $60,000 or less to defer the real estate taxes on their houses until they are sold. This would raise it to $72,000 for individuals and $109,000 for families. That, again, would also be indexed to the CPI by the state. Currently, 20 taxpayers in town qualify for this. All those three articles were passed unanimously, and with the comment that especially appropriate for the disabled veterans on this eve of Veterans Day. Article 34 was a proposal for $150,000 for consulting to the school committee and the planning board for training for GIS, Geographic Information System, GIS software training. We said right now the town owns all this software, has license for all this software, but has to bring in consultants every time it's used. And this software has major uses for proposals for major investments like the Morocco School, to analyze a lot of figures for the town, like I allowed to plan for sidewalks and school use and everything. So that was, after some discussion, there was a town meeting member proposal to postpone it till the spring. There was no action taken on that, and the $150,000 appropriation was passed. The final non-housekeeping article of the night was Article 35, and that was a proposal for the town to purchase 13.4 acres off Forest Circle for conservation. That was indefinitely postponed. The last two articles were merely housekeeping articles, and they were passed. And with that wraps up the third and final session of Winchester's Fall 2025 town meeting. I want to thank you for your viewership. I want to thank the WinCam staff for putting on this production. My name is Alan Iden. Have a great night, and we'll see you soon.